You're watching ABC 7 News at 7.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohn, and welcome to ABC 7 at 7. Not a great day for President Trump. Tonight, both the president's former personal attorney and his former campaign chair are both going to federal prison, and in the case of Michael Cohen, he has implicated the president in a crime. ABC's Emily Rao is live in Washington with the latest developments.
These are huge developments in two major cases, and both of them surrounding men who have been key figures in President Donald Trump's life and his candidacy. First of all, Michael Cohen, his longtime personal attorney, who is known to be his fixer and right-hand man. And then there's Paul Manafort, his former campaign chairman, who has now been convicted of 8 felony counts and could be facing up to 65 years in prison. President Trump's longtime personal attorney, Michael Cohen, left federal court after pleading guilty and taking a plea deal on bank fraud, tax evasion, and campaign finance violations. In court, he said he was acting under the direction of a candidate for federal office when he arranged the payment of hush money to porn star Stormy Daniels and former Playboy model Karen McDougal.
He worked to pay money to silence 2 women who had information that he believed would be detrimental to the 2016 campaign and to the candidate and the campaign.
Meanwhile, in Virginia, a jury found President Trump's former campaign chairman, Paul Manafort, guilty of 8 of 18 counts of tax and bank fraud. The court did not reach a verdict on the other 10 charges.
Mr. Manafort is disappointed of not getting acquittals all the way through or a complete hung jury on all counts.
The government argued before Manafort worked on President Trump's campaign in 2016, he put $60 million in more than 30 offshore accounts, much of that money allegedly from Ukrainian officials with ties to Russia. In West Virginia for a rally, President Trump reacted to the verdict.
It doesn't involve me, but I still feel, it's a very sad thing that happens. This has nothing to do with Russian collusion. This started as Russian collusion. This has absolutely nothing to do. This is a witch hunt, and it's a disgrace.
Now, Cohen has previously said he would take a bullet for President Trump, but last month he did tell ABC News his family and his country have his first loyalty. As for Paul Manafort, his legal battles are not over yet. He has another federal trial starting already next month. Emily Rao, ABC News, Washington. Now back to you.
Tonight, Sarasota city manager is under pressure after using a personal account for city-related matters. Former city commission candidate Martin Hyde challenged Tom Barwin to release all the emails he has sent using his private account since 2012. This all started when Hyde obtained more than 600 city-related emails Barwin had sent and received on his private Gmail account. Those 600 emails were during a 2-year span. Hyde thinks there are many more.
He said in an email to the city attorney on July the 24th explicitly that he did not do that, and there were none. And within 2 weeks, he had his Melissa Howard moment. The reality is we had boxfuls of stuff.
In a statement, the city manager says he is more than willing to release all the emails he unintentionally sent through his private account. As you might remember, we did a show last night on the governor's race, but one thing we didn't discuss was of the 5 major Democratic candidates running for Florida governor, only one reflects the type of candidate that historically has been elected to lead the state, a white Christian man. If the Democratic nominee goes on to win in November, voters could elect the state's first woman or black governor, and only the second Jewish governor since Florida became a state in 1845. Former Congresswoman Gwen Graham has used her gender as a selling point to voters, particularly on issues like abortion rights and sexual harassment. Tallahassee Mayor Andrew Gillum doesn't make race an issue as part of his campaign, but acknowledges it would be big if he were elected the state's first black governor. Former Miami Beach Mayor Philip Levine and billionaire Jeff Green would join David Schultz as Florida's only Jewish governors. A number of former state lawmakers and members of Congress are are announcing a campaign to oppose all 8 proposed constitutional amendments placed on the November ballot by the Florida Constitution Revision Commission. During a news conference in the state capitol today, members of the Save My Constitution Coalition chided the process, telling voters to vote no on the proposed amendments 6 through 13. The group says all the amendments either group controversial topics like charter schools with popular ideas like term limits into a single amendment, or they deal with issues the legislature can address like ending greyhound racing.
Step number 1, when you get your ballot, turn it over and go to the very end. Step number 2, vote no on all CRC amendments 6 through 13. Step number 3, go back to the front of your ballot and continue voting.
In total, 13 proposed state constitutional amendments were placed on the November ballot. Each amendment would require support from at least 60% of voters to be enacted. Federal authorities are telling Florida election officials they have not seen any new or ongoing compromises of state and local election systems. The joint letter sent yesterday by the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security comes after Senator Bill Nelson said Russians had penetrated the systems of certain counties and have free rein to move around ahead of this year's election. Federal officials said earlier that Russian hackers had targeted at least 21 states, including Florida, ahead of the 2016 election. Nelson stuck by his comments, even as Governor Rick Scott, his Republican rival in this year's Senate race, pressed him for proof. A local state of emergency is being declared in Manatee County due to the red tide. The declaration allows county officials to pay overtime to staff and make special purchases to deal with the red tide problem. The state of emergency will be in effect through August 28th, but it could be extended. Now let's head over to ABC 7's chief meteorologist Bob Harrigan with the first alert forecast. And Bob, it was awful in downtown Sarasota due to the red tide today. You could smell it in the air.
Yeah, it's the dead fish, the decaying fish that have been around a while, and it is going to continue to be a problem, I think, for coastal residents and even inland a little bit, as we're going to see a west to southwest wind really start to take over the next couple of days now. What's happening is that there's a cold front now slicing through the Carolinas all the way down into North Georgia and getting close to the panhandle of Florida. This front's going to continue to proceed to the south, but not all the way here. It's going to move over to North Florida and eventually fade away in about 2 to 3 days from now, and that pushes that high pressure ridge down to our south, which gives us that westerly wind flow, and that means that the main focus of storms will also be inland throughout the late afternoon and evening and along the east coast late in the day. Now we'll have a chance for some rainfall here, mainly in the morning hours and even some overnight possible, but that'll start to happen really on into tomorrow and continuing on into Thursday and Friday, and then it flips back again. We go back to an east to southeasterly wind over the weekend. All the storms inland now, east of Arcadia into Highlands County, some showers there, not much going on, and even into Hillsborough County, all the action is east of I-75 along Interstate 4 near Plant City, but nothing going on around the immediate coast, and all is quiet as far as that goes. And current conditions, we have some sunshine, 87 degrees, and the dew point is at 75. That's high. We have that west wind at 9 miles an hour, and as far as the forecast goes, we are looking for some clouds around, but really partly cloudy skies and pretty warm at 11 o'clock at 80 degrees. Be sure to download the ABC 7 weather app, as we've told you over and over again if you haven't done so already. The First Alert weather app is available for free from your app store. Just go to it and do a search for WWSB First Alert Weather, and you can download it and have it as a valuable tool during the remainder of this hurricane season. Alan?
Thanks, Bob. Do you remember what former NBA star Charles Barkley said after Democrats pulled off that improbable victory in the Alabama Senate race? To paraphrase, Democrats better stop taking the black vote for granted. Now a new effort to tap some unflexed political power. And Dwayne Lindo joins us with more. Dwayne.
Well, Alan, it's an initiative that brings multiple political parties to the table, discussing what they can do for the African American community.
When it comes to the issues, Manatee County resident Keenan Wooten is front and center.
Jobs, economics, the flyover in Manatee County, FDOT, what are they doing?
Wooten, who was born and raised on the Suncoast, is embracing the upcoming primaries and general election in November. He and other Floridians will vet a list of candidates locally as well as statewide. asking for their vote. He says with other important issues such as school safety and specifically Amendment 4, a petition drive amendment that would restore voting rights to former felons, is starting to ring a bell in the black community.
I'm starting to hear a lot of people talk about these following issues. People are starting to be organized now.
Organizing by way of Manatee County NAACP's Black Bloc Vote, a series of debates that includes local candidates from multiple parties, all in an effort to get answers specific to the minority community.
African Americans are taking a close look at it. They're taking a close look at these candidates, and we're not taking our vote for granted anymore.
The Democratic Party has taken us for granted. They automatically assume that every election that we're married together, and we are not.
NAACP Manatee County Chapter President Rodney Jones explains debates such as this one are vital. He says although blacks make up roughly 13% of the overall population, minority voters in general can change the trajectory of any election.
Parties should never dictate community agenda. Communities dictate the agenda. The party doesn't run us. You know, and it shouldn't run us up under any circumstance. It shouldn't come with a preconceived agenda for us and then expect us to blindly follow.
Jones says blacks have historically voted for Democratic candidates, the same candidates who have neglected the minority community for years.
Look at any data or any statistics as it relates to people of color, whether you're black, Hispanic, and even the poor whites. I don't know why you think you're exempt. You know, we all deal with the same stressors, so there's no way that we shouldn't be doing this right now at this time, and the sad thing is we should have did it sooner.
Which essentially means giving other political parties a seat at the table.
I've got some Republicans that I think I'm going to support in the general, not because of the moniker of the party, it's because those people have shown that they have an interest in our community and, more importantly, an interest in our kids.
But the key, according to Jones, is getting to the polls, bringing the turnout rate for African Americans back up from 2016.
You got decisions that are made at county commission meetings, city commission meetings, MPO meetings, so you got to come out and you have to come out and get engaged.
And it doesn't matter who you are, Democrat, Republican, Independent, if you are for us and you speak to the issues that we deal with on a daily basis, we're going to support you, period.
There is also a millennial-backed initiative called the Block Movement with up-to-date local political information and more on local candidates.
Dwayne, thank you. In the moment, the man behind the plan and reaction from Democrats and Republicans at the trapezoid. How are you? Good.
Performing on stage takes mental and physical preparation. But one thing I never thought to prepare for was cervical cancer. 91% of cervical cancers are caused by the human papillomavirus, or HPV. The good news is there are vaccines that can protect you or your children from cancer. I survived my cancer, but you can stop cancer before it starts. Talk to your doctor and go to thinkaboutthelink.org to learn more.
There's nothing like this trail in Alabama. It just goes from the northern part of the state to the southern part of the state. We see all kind of different terrains, great value and great fun. We've been coming for 18 years. We started off with a group of 8, grew to 12, and grew to 16. And we love it because where else can you get world-class golf courses with world-class accommodations? To be able to play these type of courses in this environment, and the difficulty keeps us coming back over and over and over again.
Another pair of satisfied emotions. Looks to me like elation and maybe some amazement. It's part of the Honda Summer Spectacular event experience. You could say satisfaction comes standard here, just like the Honda Accord comes standard with a luxurious, roomy interior. All at the Honda Summer Spectacular event.
We see it all the time.
Visit your local Honda dealer and test drive the Honda Accord, 2018's North American Car of the Year.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day? With Guaranteed Acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call. TruStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
And even if you're on a fixed income, prices fit your budget, starting at less than 32 cents a day. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease. And with no medical tests or health questions, you cannot be turned down for any reason. Call 1-800-842-7189. Now, for a free, no-obligation quote, TruStage offers plans to fit your budget. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage. Call 1-800-842-7189 now.
I'm Anne. I'm a scientist.
Recycling takes a team.
Why don't you let me and me help you out?
Everyone plays a part. Don't trash
I love taking stuff apart and building new things out of it.
what could be treasure.
Pal's my most advanced android. This is awesome. You haven't seen anything yet.
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
Welcome back. Imagine for just a moment you are Vern Buchanan and you have had some easy races over the years, but this time there's talk about a blue wave, and the Democrats believe you might be ripe for the taking. Imagine you are the winner of next week's Democratic primary and you have the best shot at taking out Vern in years. It could be a close one. Every vote counts. And there are over 10,000 African Americans in Sarasota County, making up 3.2% of the vote, 12,000 Hispanics, almost 4%. In Manatee, over 15,000 blacks, over 15,000 Hispanics. And guess what? Many of them are telling Democrats and Republicans their votes are up for grabs. And joining us for more are Rodney Jones, the Manatee County NAACP president, Rod Thompson of the RevolutionaryAct.com, and Susan Nylon of the Nylon Report. And Rodney, this is really your effort to basically tap into some, as I said earlier, some unflexed political power. Where did this idea come from?
We have been talking about it for quite some time, just waiting on the right energy. We think the energy is now. And you're absolutely correct. We do have a great deal of political might. We just haven't used it. We've had, you know, for a variety of reasons, but it's really resonating now, and most importantly, it's resonating in the black church, which has a definitely large concrete voting bloc, and they have been 100% supportive of the black bloc vote.
We have been talking about this, at least for the last couple of months, as I mentioned earlier, because of the Alabama Senate race. After the Democrat won that race, Charles Barkley went on one of the networks and said this.
They've always had our votes, and they have abused our votes, and this is a wake-up call.
Susan, you are active in the Democratic Party around here, helping to get Democrats elected. Was that a wake-up call to Democrats to not take the African-American vote for granted?
I don't think they've ever taken the African-American vote for granted per se, but there is a sense that the only time they think about the vote is prior to an election, and I think that makes the big difference.
And Rod, do you see there's an opportunity here?
Absolutely. I think there's been an opportunity for a long time now. It seems like that there's been this growing sort of feeling among blacks. Stephen A. Smith, an ESPN commentator who I really enjoy, but I think 4 years ago, he said that it's time for blacks to vote all Republican for one cycle to send a message to everybody that you can no longer take us for granted.
Okay, our conversation on the minority voting continues right after we get a check on the First Alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Thanks, Alan, and we're watching the Casey Key webcam showing still that discolored water, indicating that red tide is still around. Venice report there today at the Venice Beach. 4 million cells per liter, meaning it's not going away anytime soon, and it looks like the sea state pretty calm out there. We're going to start to see a return to that west wind too. We've been advertising as of late, and the cold front, which is unusual, down to the southeast, which has been kind of a usual pattern this summer, showing most of the storms along the east coast this evening. And that's the case. Central and the East Coast will get the heaviest rainfall, I think, over the upcoming days. We'll have a few late night storms possible near the coast, even overnight showers and storms not out of the question. And then some coastal showers up until about noon will be a possibility here. Not a great possibility on Wednesday, better on Thursday and Friday. And then the inland focus later on in the day. So the evening planner looks like this. A few clouds around, a little bit warmer now, 82 degrees at 11 o'clock. It'll feel more like 90. And there's not a lot of dry air around here. There's a lot behind that cold front. all throughout Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. And there's some dry air bottled up well down to the south in the eastern Caribbean. But we're in kind of a mixture there of moisture and not high moisture content, but there'll be some storms around. As I mentioned, late tonight there could be a few isolated late evening storms. And then tomorrow morning you'll start to see a few popping up here in the Gulf of Mexico, which will have a tendency to work onshore late in the morning and throughout the early afternoon with the heaviest storms into our interior counties. Well, in the tropics, all is quiet. What a contrast since last year when we had 4 separate systems we were watching, Harvey being one of those. And you can see a few showers offshore the Carolina coast, but all in all, a hostile environment there for much of the Atlantic Basin. Different story in the Pacific. Pacific has been very active this season, and it is again for Hawaii. Hawaii could see Lane be a pretty big storm as it starts to move more to the northwest in time. Now, they've had a similar storm in this position about 19 times, and of those 19 times, 18 of them missed Hawaii. So we'll see how it plays out. And right now, top winds are at 155 miles an hour, making that a major Category 4 storm. The planner for tomorrow, look for a few morning showers possible, then inland storms in the afternoon. 87 degrees, heat index still up there at 96, and a west wind at 9 miles an hour. The high today was 91, pretty close to average. So was the low, right at average at 74 degrees. And you can see we've got some showers and storms over the Great Lakes and throughout parts of Canada tonight. That's that low pressure driving that front all the way down into the deep south. And behind it, not much going on in Texas. Some showers in the Four Corners region out west. Now for us, we are looking for temperatures to stay pretty close to seasonal averages, a bit cooler over the Great Lakes for tomorrow. Well, here's your forecast for boaters tomorrow. Not much change there. Winds rather light, 5 to 10 knots. Seas will be generally 2 feet or less. The extended forecast and a slight chance for a few morning showers tomorrow. Better chance on Thursday and Friday. And then we get back to those afternoon and evening variety of storms for the weekend. We'll be right back after this.
A policeman stopped.
Yeah, it was the lady parked next to me.
I called my wife.
My dad got up in the middle of the night.
My neighbor helped me out.
I called a tow truck.
Anyone can jumpstart your car, but for free installation and $10 off Duracell Ultra car batteries, there's no one like Batteries Plus bulbs.
I'll install it myself.
I'd like you to do it.
Visit batteriesplus.com for a store near you.
Sarasota Oxygen and CPAP is the largest locally owned CPAP supply company in the area. Is it time to replace your old equipment? The staff at Sarasota Oxygen and CPAP can show you the most up-to-date CPAP equipment and supplies to meet your sleep apnea needs, including portable travel devices and the SoClean automatic CPAP sanitizer. We serve all of Southwest Florida, giving the highest quality of care with the finest CPAP equipment. Please visit our website, sarasotacpap.com.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
Did you know that a dirty CPAP system could make you sick? If you knew what could be growing in your mask and hose, it would keep you up at night. Now, SoClean.com has released the world's first automated hands-free CPAP cleaner and sanitizer. With its patented design, SoClean is fast, effective, and hands-free, killing 99.9% of all CPAP germs and bacteria. Try SoClean now through this special TV offer, risk-free for 30 days. Just call
800-604-0398.
The SoClean works, and it's a really effective product, and I couldn't believe how easy it was to use.
SoClean works on all popular CPAP machines and masks, destroying CPAP germs and bacteria without the daily hassle of washing your system by hand. Just place your mask in, close the lid, and walk away. Voila! Sanitized and ready to use. Try SoClean risk-free for 30 days. This is a limited time offer. Call now, 800-604-0398, or visit SoClean.com today.
Welcome back. We're talking about a brand new effort to marshal the political influence of the minority community in the upcoming primary and midterm elections. And guess what? Many of them are telling Democrats and Republicans their votes are up for grabs. And joining us for more are Rodney Jones of the Manatee County NAACP, Rod Thompson of the RevolutionaryAct.com, and Susan Nylon of the Nylon Report. Now, I would imagine, Rodney, there are two areas here. The voter turnout, which we're going to talk about a little bit later, but also the system that you're putting into place in terms of getting both Republicans and Democrats and independents, for that matter, to come out and tell you what their views are and what they intend to do. How are you setting this up?
Yeah, it was really an eclectic process, Democrats, Republicans, independents. We set up our own debates. It's called the Black Bloc Vote Debate Series. We had them in the community, in the neighborhood, churches, schools, talked about the issues specific to the black community. At the same night of the debate, we break into 3 different groups. A millennial group, we got a strong millennial following, middle-aged group, which is 36 to 50, and then what we call the seasoned group, 51 on up, and we actually vet the candidates at that time. We form a consensus, and we come back and say who we're going to support.
What kind of turnout did you get?
At the District 2 debate, we had just under 100, but the attendees were from a wide variety of organizations, churches, Panhellenic, Greek organizations, so we felt like we had a good sampling of the community to make that call.
And Rod, we just ended our series of school board debates in both counties here, and we saw that one Republican who was running for school board is getting the support of this group. And there are other Republicans who are also going to be getting the support. So obviously, Republicans feel like, or they are in the game here in terms of getting support from this new group.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense, too, that you're seeing a whole change in the dynamic there, particularly with what I think we'll talk about more in the next segment, but there really is shifting sands here. And I don't know where it all sifts out to, but things are changing between what can be automatically expected between Republicans and Democrats. The change might not only be on the Democratic side.
And Susan, we're going to get into this more, but I'm sure Rodney is going to say that there is a perception that Democrats only come around close to Election Day, and that is some of the things that has to change.
Well, I would agree. I mean, in the same argument, there seems to be always an election going on, so there's not a lot of gap in between. But you're right, if the only interest in the community is around the election, it's very transparent and it's very difficult to overcome, so it has to be around.
Okay, we have to take another quick break. We're just getting warmed up. Our conversation on the minority vote will continue right after we get a quick break. Stay with us.
Clogged pores are disgusting. Introducing Dermasuction, the easy way to suck that yuck out of your pores. Dermasuction removes blackheads and dirt from your pores. Just look at everything it extracts. The secret's the gentle vacuum action. Watch as Dermasuction extracts so much yuck, leaving your skin feeling clean and youthful.
The gunk that had been pulled out, I was pretty horrified, but better in the Dermasuction than on my face.
It's almost addictive because you can see all this stuff coming out of your skin that you don't even really know is there.
Call now to order your Dermasuction for just $19.99. We'll also include our small and large body probes, the Sonic Microdermabrasion probe, and the handy travel case, all absolutely free. Order now and you can double the offer. Just pay a separate fee. You can get all this, but you have to order now.
Call 1-800-213-9301. That's 1-800-213-9301. Or visit dermasuction.com. So call 1-800-213-9301 now.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day? With Guaranteed Acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call, and you cannot be turned down for any reason. Even if you have health problems or are living on a fixed income, Guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance policies could work for you with prices starting at less than 32 cents a day. That's as low as $9.40 a month. TruStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
My mom didn't have life insurance and the cost all fell on me. And that's expensive. We're still paying for that.
Yeah, we're still paying for that.
Call 1-800-218-4991. Now, in one phone call, you can help prepare your family with protection amounts up to $25,000. There are no medical tests or health questions. And remember, you cannot be turned down for any reason. In fact, TruStage policies are already protecting over 18 million Americans. And rates are designed to be affordable, starting at less than 32 cents a day. That's as low as $9.40 a month. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease.
When I leave, everything will be taken care of for them.
Call 1-800-218-4991 now for a free, no-obligation quote. TruStage offers plans to fit your budget with prices starting at less than 32 cents a day. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage. Call 1-800-218-4991 now.
Oh, look! A bouquet of lump-livered drolls.
We went to a real school to show that bullying should be history.
You monkey-elbowed pockmarks. What a bunch of beef-witted pig nuts.
On Monday, October 1st, let's all stand up for World Day of Bullying Prevention by rocking a blue shirt. Together, let's make bullying a thing of the past. Go blue and get your blue shirt at stompoutbullying.org.
You're watching ABC 7 News at 7:30.
Welcome back. We are talking about a brand new effort to marshal the political influence of the minority community in the upcoming primary and midterm elections. And guess what? Many of them are telling Democrats and Republicans their votes are up for grabs. And joining us for more are Rodney Jones of the Manatee County NAACP, Rod Thompson of the RevolutionaryAct.com, and Susan Nylon of the Nylon Report. So Rodney, let me ask you the question this way, because we have a congressional race coming up here where it could be the best chance that Democrats have had in years in terms of going after that seat. Have both the Democratic candidates and Vern Buchanan showed up in the community on a regular basis to talk to the community about the issues that affect them and what they intend to do about it?
We don't see Democrats till election time, and that's the truth. I live in the neighborhood. I've lived there my entire life, and we don't see Democrats till election time because they come for one purpose and one purpose only, which is to get votes. After the elections, we don't see anyone.
And what about the Republicans?
Well, at Manatee County, of course, there's almost 25,000 more votes, so they don't care. They don't even put signs up, or they don't even market themselves to the black community.
Now that should be a wake-up call to David Shapiro and Jan Schneider, who are in that primary, and Vern Buchanan, who I've seen at different events around the community. And as we've been sitting here speaking, I got an email from Cheryl Wilson, who's the Manatee Democratic Chair, saying that she is trying to work with folks like you and others to get the vote out, and we're going to discuss that more here. But Rod, you know, if there's a perception the Democrats have not been around in earnest and are only there on election day, surely that goes for Republican candidates for office as well.
Absolutely so. As a matter of fact, that's what makes this dynamic so interesting, because on the one hand, I feel like Democrats have taken the black vote for granted, but because the black vote has been so monolithic, between 87 and 90% Democrat, what that's meant is Republicans have just sort of ignored it every time there's been action. I mean, we've made efforts in Sarasota County to have real outreach and all, and it's just like against a brick wall in past years. And so that's why I think they feel marginalized, and I think rightly so, because the Democrats take them for granted, and the Republicans go, it's hopeless, so they don't even try.
Susan, I want to give you a chance to respond, and then I have a good question.
Okay. You know, This is why I don't like focusing on the difference between parties itself. And the one thing I like at what Rodney is doing is he's focusing on the issues, because I think when you focus on the issues, you make the candidates work really hard for the vote. There's no assumptions. There's no assumption that the black vote is definitely and Hispanic vote going to be Democrat and vice versa.
Right, but during the 2016 election, Donald Trump said to African American voters, "What do you have to lose?" And Rod, I predict that if I ask you this question, you're going to point that African-American unemployment is at an all-time low here. But on the other hand, you have the president directing comments to primarily black athletes, calling them sons of bitches over the kneeling at NFL games. And there is still a perception that this president, especially after Charlottesville and what he said, that this president is racist. And I would imagine that's counterproductive to the goal of winning increased support.
Yeah, complicated question there. Because you're
right.
Rod. The perception is indeed that Trump is racist. I don't actually think that's true. I think he's insensitive to everybody.
No,
I think. Well, wait. Let me finish.
He's
now.
racist.
Stop. Let me finish.
He is.
I think he's insensitive because who was it? He called, Omarosa, I think. He said fired like a dog, right? And it was like, oh, this is such a racist thing. And then the Daily Wire goes out and finds out that he's called like 127 people a dog, because he name calls people. He calls everybody names. I don't think it would have mattered at all if the NFL was all white and kneeling. I think if the hockeys, if the NHL kneeled, he would do the same thing.
What about Haiti and Africa and all those other blank hole countries that he referred to?
Yeah, I think he was talking about third world countries. Obviously, third world countries got included brown ones too, and you still try and make the racism case there. I just don't actually see it outside of those sorts of things, except I will say Charlottesville did make me pause for a minute, because I thought his response was horrible after Charlottesville.
And Rodney, I don't know if the camera caught it, but your reaction, but I did.
Yeah, Donald is tremendously hurting the Republican Party. I mean, there were already issues, image issues with the party for lack of interest in the black community due to our voter turnout, which it should be based on people and what's best for people. But Mr. Trump has severely hurt that image, and most blacks, and especially Hispanic, Latins, and women too. A lot of people have an issue with Mr. Trump. We got to call that how it is. You know, Mr. Trump has gotten to a point where his party, his core base, he could throw a baby off of a bridge and they would say, "Oh no, what he meant to do was."
But the truth is that the polls are showing increasing approval ratings of Trump by minorities. 8% of blacks voted for Trump in 2016. He now has 21% support. The NAACP had a poll also that showed a surprising amount of support, and according to Rasmussen poll, he's got twice the support of last year within their same poll. That's a lot of movement of positiveness.
There's another area I do want to get to during this segment, and Rodney, your efforts here are only going to be successful is if there is an increased voter turnout in the African American and Hispanic communities, because, and I know that you could predictably, there was a top, the top was in 2008, but it's been trending down. And I'm wondering if there's a realization in the African American community, for that matter, that if there was a higher voting, if more people came out to vote, you would be in a position to wield more power and to influence who wins and who loses in this election, in these elections.
Yeah, that's very true. We take the Charles Smith. He won by 6 votes last time. For the very close, Harold Byrd beat Keenan Wooten by 300 or so votes. So for the very close races, we are the swing vote. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So we are just attempting to get more turnout. This was really an organizational effort for us up to the primary to work out all the kinks. So from here to the general, we're full speed, and we think we're going to make a difference.
We talked, first thing, you just talked about millennial voters. All millennial voters have a hard time getting to the polls and doing so. But what have young members of your community said to you about why they don't go out to vote more often?
Yeah, just kind of a little apathetic, not a lot of confidence in the process anymore for a lot of good reasons. We've got a broken political system. John Adams said it would be, the second president of the United States said the two-party system would end up exactly how it is. So people don't have a lot of, I hate to even hear the word Democrat, Republican. We should be talking about people and issues. We put the parties in front of people, and that's a huge mistake. So we're basically saying to hell with Democratic Party and the Republican Party, because both parties have been very counterproductive to black prosperity here in this country.
Susan, we do hear about how motivated Democratic voters are, especially now, but you know, the Democrats, it appears, to have a lot of work ahead to get everyone who identifies as a Democrat, even though you know, we're trying to look at things not party-wise, to come out.
Yeah, I would say, and the one thing the Democrats do locally is get out the vote. They do a really good job about that. And
not as good as the Republicans.
Yeah, well, I think it's a question of, right now there's more registered Republicans in our community and vice versa, but they do some great work at the local party. However, it's always overshadowed by people who just vote party line, and that's a problem.
Okay, we have to take a quick break, and we'll be back for final thoughts in a moment. Stay with us.
According to a new survey by U.S. News & World Report, 3 of Alabama's top 4 hotels and resorts are part of the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail Resort Collection. The Grand Hotel Marriott Resort in Point Clear, the Battle House Renaissance Mobile Hotel and Spa, and the Renaissance Birmingham Ross Bridge Golf Resort and Spa. Hey, we didn't invent Southern hospitality, we just offer more of it. Visit rtjgolf.com/resorts to find out more.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day? With Guaranteed Acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call. TruStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
And even if you're on a fixed income, prices fit your budget, starting at less than 32 cents a day. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease. And with no medical tests or health questions, you cannot be turned down for any reason. Call 1-800-842-7189. Now, for a free, no-obligation quote, TruStage offers plans to fit your budget. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with Guaranteed Acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage. Call 1-800-842-7189 now.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. And as soon as I start to make my breakfast, Hamilton is right there. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. I mean, look at this little face. How could you not love him?
All hands on deck. What's up? I want to point out 3 tips for using the home computer more safely. Point away.
First, stop. Make sure your software is up to date and that you've password protected your computer's login and Wi-Fi connection.
Next, think before visiting a site, opening attachments, or clicking on links.
Then connect, knowing you're helping make the web safer for you
and for everyone. Make Stop, Think, Connect part of your daily online routine.
A home can be much more than just a house. But for some of our neighbors, home means uncertainty and isolation. At Rebuilding Together, we turn houses into homes and revitalize our communities. Because a neighborhood is more than just houses and streets. It's familiar faces and open arms. Join the movement to ensure everyone can live in a safe home and community. Become a rebuilder today.
And our guests join us right now for final thoughts. So Rodney, I hear what you're saying in terms of Democrats should not take the African American vote for granted, and Republicans have to work at it. But I would imagine that there is probably a general perception by both Democrats and Republicans that in the minority community in general that your worldview is closer aligned to Democrats than Republicans. Is that fair to say or not?
I wouldn't say right now. I think we're shifting to more issue focus and what's basically a community concept where we're not letting Republican or Democratic come into our community and set an agenda for us. We're setting our own agenda, and they're based on the issues that are facing the community. So here again, I'm kind of anti-Democratic and Republican Party based on the history of the party system. The Democratic Party comes out of the Deep South, actually out of the Klan and white supremacy, because they supported the Confederacy. That's the truth. The Republican Party, blacks were Republicans due to Abraham Lincoln and the Emancipation Proclamation, not knowing that Abraham Lincoln said that he would not have freed the slaves if he could do so and preserve the Union. He would not do so.
On the other hand, you are no fan of Donald Trump.
I am no fan of Trump. I don't see how anyone that has a breadth of character in them would be a fan of Donald Trump.
Well, Rod, you do have a breadth of character, and you are a fan of Donald Trump.
Well, I'm a fan of Donald Trump's policies, and I've tried to delineate that on your show. His personal life, I have a lot of issues with.
We're going to do another show on that very issue, but go on.
I am very comfortable with what Rodney is saying. I would love to be able to have the opportunity as a conservative to talk to the black community about conservative principles that are then reflected in conservative policies that I think are far more beneficial and far more closely aligned to the traditional black way of thinking than it is with what the Democratic Party brings to the table.
Well, and I want to be a part of that conversation then if you're going to get to do it, because I would add to that.
But Susan, on the other hand, I would imagine that even in the next election, that the African American community, the majority of voters will vote for Democrats. It may not be at the same percentages as it always has been, but obviously the party itself has its work cut out for it.
We always have our work cut out for it. I mean, nobody should ever take a vote for granted. I think it changes depending upon whether it's a local election, a state election, or a federal election. I think that's where there's a variance, like Rodney was saying a little bit earlier. You know, we tend to get a little bit more conservative when it directly impacts us in our schools and, you know, in our homes, and then it branches out from there. So, but to just assume that we got your vote, I don't have to worry about you, like the Republicans don't even bother because they don't think they have a chance. That's wrong all the way around. And again, I want to say it needs to be focused on the issues.
Okay, we have to leave it there. But before we go, we want to share with you what some of our viewers had to say about last night's show on the governor's race. 1 week for today, we will narrow the field for governor down to two, one Republican, one Democrat. Who will they be is anyone's guess. Polls have three of the Democratic candidates within a few percentage points of one another. On the Republican side, it is neck and neck between Ron DeSantis and Adam Putnam. So we went to Facebook to hear who wants to be the next Florida governor. And Andrew says, elections have consequences, folks. You like what's happening to our Gulf? Dead zone, persistent red tide, can't swim in the water, empty beaches, failing businesses. Can you imagine the outcry if all this disaster were happening under a Democratic governor? Time for change. Voting for more of the same will just get us more of the same. And Barry says, Adam Putnam as governor, he will defend our Second Amendment rights. And Sue Ann says, independent voter here. I have lived in Florida most of my life. I have voted for governors from both parties. I just voted for Ron DeSantis. To me, somehow, I feel Adam Putnam is a career opportunist type politician, part of the good old boy network in Tallahassee. One thing I don't get, Sue Ann, if you're a registered independent, you can't vote in the primary. Well, if you'd like to join the conversation on tonight's topic, just visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/MySuncoast. We want to thank our guests for being here tonight. Rodney Jones is with the NAACP in Manatee County, Rod Thompson of the RevolutionaryAct.com, and Susan Nylon of the Nylon Report. When we return, the worst fears for the parents of a missing Iowa college student have become a reality. But right now, let's get a final check on our first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Hackett. Bob.
Sun just about ready to set. Beautiful sunset it's going to be, too, with these high to mid clouds around. Should light up pretty nicely. You can see some clouds trying to pop up here and there, but no real threat of any significant rainfall near the coast. As I mentioned, it should be a beautiful and gorgeous sunset coming up here in a few minutes. Titan radar picture continues to show this cold front weakening as it pushes toward the panhandle of Florida right now. But big storms have been firing up into central Florida and along the east coast. And it looks like we will continue to see this pattern stay the same. Inland storms will be the main focus late in the day and along the east coast as well. and then we'll see a few coastal showers and even some overnight activity possible in the early morning hours along the coast. Not so much tonight, but tomorrow night, not out of the question. See some of that activity getting close to Punta Gorda, east of I-75, though it is. Water vapor content showing a real dry column of air located all across Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama tonight. Not much here for us. We are anticipating, as I said, a slight chance, less than 20%, for an isolated storm to pop up here and there, but most areas staying dry this evening. And it looks like we will continue to see that be the case tomorrow night, too. As I mentioned, there may be a few morning showers right around after sunrise and then continuing on into the early afternoon and then mainly inland late in the day. Look at this classic setup here, stadium-looking shot of Hurricane Lane, a top-end Category 4 hurricane. Winds at 155 miles an hour, and it could even be a Category 5 right now. Reports coming out from the hurricane hunters indicating that it's looking a little healthier on the satellite imagery. Although it is moving off to the northwest, it's expected to turn more to the north-northwest over the next couple of days and could have an impact on the islands there. It doesn't appear that it's going to be a 4, but it will weaken, and depending upon when it makes that turn, it will determine how much of an impact it will be. Obviously, if it's here as a Category 3 as opposed to here, they're going to have a much more significant impact near Honolulu. But the top winds should go down to Category 1 status as it gets close to Honolulu. In our neck of the world, we're not looking at a big deal out there in the Atlantic right now. All is quiet. And if you watch the area in blue, that indicates a very hostile environment to tropical weather. And it's covering the Caribbean through Thursday and the Atlantic, a rather large chunk there where those storms usually come off the coast of Africa and can sometimes develop early. There's a couple of areas that are favorable, but even those aren't all that great. And notice how that spreads all throughout the Caribbean, even into the Bahamas on into Sunday, so no threat of any significant storms here as we push through the weekend. Now, as far as temperatures go, it'll stay warm at night. We're going to have some warm overnight readings, and the humidity will stay high too. So even though the heat index will be at 100 and 103 during the afternoon, it could still be up in the low 90s at 11 o'clock. Southwest winds basically, and seas running less than 2 feet. Now, the forecast for 7 days, then 20% chance for a shower or two. I told you about the timing. That holds true for Thursday and Friday, morning showers along the coast, and then back to the afternoon and evening variety of storms pushing toward the coast from inland areas on Saturday and Sunday. Alan will be right back after this. Stick around.
Sarasota Oxygen and CPAP is the largest locally owned CPAP supply company in the area. Is it time to replace your old equipment? The staff at Sarasota Oxygen and CPAP can show you the most up-to-date CPAP equipment and supplies to meet your sleep apnea needs, including portable travel devices and the SoClean automatic CPAP sanitizer. We serve all of Southwest Florida, giving the highest quality of care with the finest CPAP equipment. Please visit our website, sarasotacpap.com.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to mesobook.com.
Did you know that a dirty CPAP system could make you sick? If you knew what could be growing in your mask and hose, it would keep you up at night. Now, SoClean.com has released the world's first automated hands-free CPAP cleaner and sanitizer. With its patented design, SoClean is fast, effective, and hands-free, killing 99.9% of all CPAP germs and bacteria. Try SoClean now through this special TV offer, risk-free for 30 days. Just call 800-604-0398.
The SoClean works, and it's a really effective product, and I couldn't believe how easy it was to use.
SoClean works on all popular CPAP machines and masks, destroying CPAP germs and bacteria without the daily hassle of washing your system by hand. Just place your mask in, close the lid, and walk away. Voila! Sanitized and ready to use. Try SoClean risk-free for 30 days. This is a limited-time offer. Call now, 800-604-0398. Or visit SoClean.com today.
Well, Thomas, you've got pre-diabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have prediabetes. Big time.
Designers do it with style.
Tell me what's going on here, because
Why, you don't like my hair?
The Mark and Mandy Show. In-depth design ideas.
What is up with the tuck tape here? Let's cover it up.
Amazing beauty and fashion tips.
So Halle Berry has amazing skin. Her secret is coffee grounds.
No.
Delicious recipes.
Today, I'm gonna show you a special dish that is sure to please that special someone in your life.
Watch The Mark and Mandy Show right here on your favorite channel.
Checking primetime headlines in Iowa, investigators say they believe they have located the body of a missing college student and they have arrested a man for her murder. Molly Tibbetts vanished while jogging more than a month ago. ABC's Elizabeth Herr is in New York with the breaking details.
A tragic end to a tireless search for a missing college student in Iowa.
A body was discovered early this morning in a farm field southeast of Brooklyn, Iowa. The identity has not been confirmed. However, we believe it to be the body of Molly Tibbetts.
Authorities also announcing, in addition to finding the body, a suspect is now under arrest. Christian Rivera, a 24-year-old man who police say was in the U.S. illegally and living in the same county where Molly Tibbetts disappeared. Rivera now in jail, charged with first-degree murder. Officials revealing surveillance video provided detectives with images of a suspicious vehicle.
We identified that vehicle belonging to Mr. Rivera, and then we located him, interviewed him, and subsequently he led us to her location.
The 20-year-old University of Iowa student disappeared on July 18th, last seen going for a run in Brooklyn, Iowa. When she did not show up for work the next day, her co-workers got worried and her family reported her missing. According to police, Rivera was brought in for questioning on Monday.
He actually tells us that he ran alongside of her or behind her, and then at one point he tells us that Molly grabbed a hold of her phone and said, "You need to leave me alone, I'm going to call the police." And then she took off running. He in turn chased her down. And then he tells us that at some point in time he blacks out.
For now, authorities are not saying how or why the suspect allegedly murdered Molly, but we are told an autopsy is scheduled for tomorrow. Elizabeth Herr, ABC News, New York.
The Colorado father charged with killing his pregnant wife and 2 daughters making his first court appearance today. Christopher Watts waived his right to a preliminary hearing and will be back in court November 19th. Watts was formally charged yesterday with 5 counts of murder, unlawful termination of a pregnancy, and tampering with a deceased body. Investigators say he killed his wife Shannon and daughters Bella and Celeste August 13th and hid their bodies at his workplace. Court documents show Watts was having an affair with a co-worker prior to the murders. He's being held in the Weld County Jail without bail. And that's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night.